And of course, the NTSB is leading that search for answers and promising to leave no stone unturned in this investigation. We're happy to have Todd Inman, one of those NTSB members who's working on the case, with us this morning. And sir, we all recognize that these are the early hours and what you may be able to tell us is limited. But let's start with some of this reporting. NBC has said the FAA has said staffing levels in the control tower at the time of the crash were not normal, that there was one controller speaking to both the chopper and the airplane, and though that is allowed within FAA guidelines, that it is not typical. Can you shed any light on that?
Well, what we do know at this time is this is actually part of the process that immediately happens after an accident. The FAA begins what's called a safety review team, and they bring together a number of different groups, everything from the unions to airline pilots. They immediately start doing essentially a hot wash, which is to gain as many details as they can. That is one small aspect of the overall investigation. It will come into our air traffic control working group, but for right now, it's probably just a very small piece of a very big puzzle.
But to those reports that the FAA has said that staffing levels were not typical, can you confirm that?
Every airport is a living, breathing city, and so at times you'll have fluctuations of not only flights but air traffic control. Then you have issues regarding weather, maybe maintenance on the field. Every one of those are different variables, so to say it's not normal would not mean it would be an indication that there's trouble or a problem. But it will be something that we look at, because we'll look at everything in that regard. We'll go back to look at training. We'll look at fatigue. We'll look at time. We'll look at communication.
Was it just one controller? Was it the one controller?
No, I did not say that. Sorry. It is a matter of whether or not a controller is doing multiple functions.
Yes.
DCA is a very busy airport. There's a lot going on, so you can have multiple different controllers in the cab. Sometimes they're doing one or two different functions. It's not unusual in the evening hours, depending upon the congestion and the traffic in the airspace.
Can we talk about the reporting, Mr. Inman, that this helicopter was flying higher than it should have, higher than it had been approved to fly? Can you confirm that?
I would first start with, we probably don't want to speculate too much right now until we get the black box from the Sikorsky itself. ADSB and radar are all small parts of that puzzle, but as many people who watch things online or say with off-the-shelf software, there can be a lot of variables, and those change. Once we get that data recorder off of the Sikorsky, we'll have very granular information in order to determine the exact not only altitude, speed, pitch, which way it was moving at that time. Right now, it's just too early to speculate.
I do want to ask you about the communication between the helicopter and the control tower. I'm sure you've heard the audio. At one point, the Black Hawk helicopter pilot mentioned separation from the passenger jet. Is it clear at this point that at that point he was talking about confirming that he saw the plane and was trying to avoid it, or is it possible that he saw a different plane entirely and he just didn't see the commercial jet?
We don't know exactly yet, but we do know that the data recorders, the voice recorders inside will give us a little bit better information in that regard. Speculating what someone's seeing whenever you're not actually in the event is pretty hard to do. We have seen the videos, and there's some new videos out this morning. We're pulling all that information together to try to find all of the data sources to find out exactly where it's at. This is going to be a very long process.
Well, you have all these different data strands. I mean, how confident are you, though, that you will ultimately be able to provide that answer as to what happened, what went wrong?
It's a great question. You know, the NTSB has a very storied and long reputation, over 50 years. We've done over 100,000 aviation accident investigations, and it's considered the gold standard in the international community. We will take as long as it takes to find out the probable cause, but the more important part of this is the recommendations that come after that. Our job is to try to prevent tragedies like this in the future and to make sure that no one has to suffer what those families are going through right now.
Well, it's the most crucial work, and we're appreciative of your time this morning, sir. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.